It's about no risk, no gain.
Founder of Women for Financial Independence.
It's about success, sweet success.
Governor's Conference for Women.
Smart girls finish rich.
She's the president and CEO of ChappelWood Financial.
It's about consistency will always outperform occasional brilliance.
And she is the financial diva.
It's about the money, honey.
Hello and welcome to It's All About the Money, Honey. I'm Sarah Peterson here with Victoria Woods and Damon King of ChappelWood Financial Services. So great to be with you today.
I am so excited to be here, and you are so delightful, and I appreciate you being here so much because we have had such an exciting time creating ChappelWood Financial, and I know you're dying to know how we started this company, right?
Absolutely, I am.
I know
and as you know, there are so few women in this industry. The fact that you are the president, the CEO, and you've written this phenomenal book that we're going to talk about, I just can't wait.
Okay, so how in the world could I go from fashion merchandising degree? I was in the fashion business, and I was at this store that is called Printemps in Denver. And a gentleman challenged me to call this gentleman, who was very top executive. And he challenged me, and I said, he'll be called by 10 o'clock the next morning. And sure enough, I did. I got an appointment with him, but he stood me up.
Aye.
Can you imagine?
No.
So I called the gentleman and I said, I'm so sorry that you missed your appointment. We can reschedule. So we do. And then he stands me up again. So then I take this nice little note card that I have and I tell him, I know something must have come up very important. I am so sorry you missed your second appointment. But, when you're in the neighborhood next time, and I underline neighborhood, and I sent it to him, sincerely, Victoria Woods. The whole point of it was because I could see his office from the front door of this store.
You're in the neighborhood,
He's
mister.
right across the parking lot. And
I know you're there.
Yeah, and it's like, so now he gets the card. I'm off on a Monday, and he comes barreling up the store. He comes in just loud, and this is like a Neiman Marcus, quiet, elegant, beautiful, crystal chandeliers and all. And so he comes barreling and says, who is Victoria Woods? And they all come running. So they say, he says, call me. And so I did call him. I made him wait a little bit, but I called him. And we began a friendship, really, because he said, you've got to work for me. And I said, look, Mr. Lucas, you stood me up twice and you want me to work for you? I don't know if we'd be a good fit. He goes, young lady, the way you follow up with people, you need to work for me. And it took him 7 months, but what they convinced me of is that, because I love the fashion industry and was very successful, but what he convinced me of was the fact that, he kept making me think about saving money, investing money, how important it was. And I had realized I came from humble beginnings. We didn't have lunch money. And I'm thinking, I'm going to make a lot of money someday. I need to know how to invest it. And so that's how they actually convinced me to get in the fashion, go from fashion to investment. And when I did, it was like, okay, never look back. And you talked about, before I heard you talking about, women being in the industry. Well, I would be the only woman in the skirt at the first meeting.
Absolutely.
The only woman. For years.
It does not surprise me. And a lot of women, I'm sure your clients are coming in, they really don't know what's going on with their finances.
They don't.
And this is an education that needs to happen.
It does. Well, so many women do kind of keep their head in the sand. And we're the ones that decide who, buys the house, who buys the car, where the kids go to school, where we vacation. But when it comes to investments, they don't have a lot of input, and they should know where their money is.
So ChappelWood is your baby, and then how does Damon come into the picture?
I got lucky.
Well, yeah, I guess so. You did. You won the lottery. No,
I did. I won the lottery with this guy.
He's so humble.
He is.
I got into this business. I have to say that my passion for this truly comes from a deep personal place. When I was in my early 20s, which was 20 years ago.
You don't need to age yourself.
I know, that's okay. But when I was in my early 20s, like a lot of people, I made some really poor financial decisions. So much so that by the time I was 24 years old, I found myself $17,000 in credit card debt. And some of that was to pay for school. Some of that was to pay for necessities. A lot of it was just to do stupid stuff, And I remember one night, I got in my car. I was driving from work. It was a Friday evening. I remember it so vividly. Got in my car, and I noticed I'm on empty. I don't have any gas in my car. I got to go get gas. I pulled up to the gas station near my apartment, and as I got out, I realized I've maxed out my credit cards. There's no money left in my checking account. how am I going to buy gas? I started rummaging around in my car looking for spare change, and I found 40 cents. I walked into the gas station, and I said, I need 40 cents on pump number 5. I was mortified. I was so embarrassed that it had gotten to this point. Have you ever pumped 40 cents worth of gas? It's one little thing, and that's it.
That's a quick trip.
And I got that done, and I got in my car, and I'm not going to lie, Sarah, I just sat there and cried. I couldn't believe that I had let myself get to this point. I wasn't raised, we didn't grow up in poverty. I had great parents with great examples. I had a college education. I had just made stupid choices. 45 minutes after that little pity party that I threw for myself, I had a second job. And I used that second job, and then later I added on a third job, and I used that to get out of debt. But what happened in all of that, it was like this crucible that I had to have in order to turn me into what I've become. And I started reading books, going to classes, learning how investing worked, learning how not just getting out of debt, but building wealth worked. And in doing that, people started asking me, how'd you do this? What are you doing? And I realized I love teaching. I love showing other people how to do it. So I said right then and there, if I can ever help anybody else avoid the mistakes I made, that's what I'm going to do. And that's why I'm in this business.
I love this, and we oftentimes on the show talk about how this isn't necessarily a part of our formalized education, but it very well should be, because the kids that graduate from college, and so many kids have the same story.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's probably people out there who are thinking, Damon, I was in the exact spot you were 20 years ago. But they graduate, oh, here's your first job, here's a 401k, great. Now what do I do?
No clue what to do with it.
And you don't know what to do with it. But this just shows you, too, why Damon and I became partners in my business. And I was so fortunate because I talked to a lot of other advisors that really wanted to join my firm, and it just wasn't a good fit. That story he just shared shows the determination, because what he chose to do is to get what we have, which is all of our licensing. He started a 5-year plan. A 5-year plan to get into this industry. He was extremely successful as a fundraiser, but he decided that I really want to help people. And he took a 5-year plan. He got all of his insurance licenses, his PNC, his health, his life, his annuity. He got his CFP license. I mean, this is a lot.
It's a lot
to do before we even met, before he came to me. And I knew if somebody was that committed, they're my kind of people. And
Absolutely.
I knew that he was a good fit for ChappelWood. And we've, now we do a radio show together, and we've had do events together. So there's a lot we do.
Yeah, we work well together.
Well, we only have a minute, if you can believe it or not, till we have to go to our first break. It always goes by so fast, but I would love for you to let those viewers out there know what it is that you're offering today.
Absolutely. Damon, you want to share?
Absolutely. What we're offering to you right now is what we call the Gold Bucket Optimizer. You have gold buckets, even though you may not know it. We all have gold, cash, money that's protected, money in the stock market that's at risk, and other money that you might have like mineral royalties or real estate. These buckets need to be optimized. They need to be balanced. So what we want to offer to you today is to call 1-888-838-3482, that's 888-838-DIVA, and say, I want the Gold Bucket Optimizer. You're going to get on the phone with our Director of Client Service, Shelly Myatt. She'll ask you a few questions, and then we'll set your first appointment. When you come in, we're going to take a look at where is your gold and how can we best optimize it and balance it.
I love this. And we're also talking about the golden years, so it all comes full circle. All right, when we come back, we're going to get to so much more about what got you started and how we're going to maximize our golden years.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Hello and welcome back to It's All About the Money, Honey. I love saying that. I'm Sarah Peterson here with Victoria Woods and Damon King of ChappelWood Financial Services. And I want to learn more about this gold bucket optimizer, the gold buckets. You got me intrigued when you said gold.
Absolutely.
Well, it is about gold. And years ago, you know how most financial advisors, Sarah, have all of these fancy charts and they'll do a financial plan for people and nobody reads it. And it's, you know, we used to call it, you know, by the pound. And what I was trying to do, and as I built the company, I wanted the foundation to be, okay, if I'm sitting where you are, knowing what I know, I want to be able to make it as simple as possible because our business is pretty complex. What I decided to do was taking all of this information and getting it into one report. And so all I did was design the simple form that has what Damon mentioned, your cash, your guarantee of principal accounts, how much money do I have in that bucket? You know, where is, like Damon always says, where's my gold? And it's, where's your gold cash? Where's your gold protection? Where's your gold stocks, bonds, mutual funds? And then oil royalties, real estate, all the things that our clients have. And when you can sit down and see it all in one place, you immediately go, oh my gosh, I'm missing this. And what we see most often is the protection of assets because people have gone to work, they've gotten into their 401k, and they don't have an option for protecting a portion of their assets. So that's the big gap and hole typically that we see with most clients that come in.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier. I'm sorry to.
No.
It's a lot easier to explain to someone, or at least show them a picture. It's one thing to say you may be taking on a little bit too much risk in the market. It's a lot more powerful to show them a picture. Do you see here? 97% of your market or your money is at risk in the stock market. You're about to enter retirement. You're in what we call that retirement red zone, or maybe you're in retirement already. Does that make you feel comfortable? Can you sleep well at night knowing that 97% of your money is at risk in the market? Often the answer is, well, no. That doesn't make me feel happy at all. And so we can say, well, then how much of that would you like to pour into that protection bucket so that you can sleep a little better at night?
Mm-hmm. And then what we continuously do is we monitor that. We have a 6-step process, and we take that one sheet. We have all the, brokerage statements you have to have. You have to have them anyway. But we simplify for clients and say, okay, this is your protection of assets, this is this. And then they look at it and they can see the percentage. Like Damon said, when you see you have 97% of your assets and you're going into retirement, who sleeps well at night? Nobody. I decided years ago when women started coming to me and saying, Victoria, I just don't sleep well at night. And I said, well, why? And they said, well, because I've got this 60-40, and if the market goes up, okay, I can sleep, and if it goes down, I don't. And that started the whole foundation of, I can fix that problem. Then they kept saying the same thing as, my advisor talks over my head and makes me feel foolish. I was like, well, I can fix that problem. I have statements I don't understand. Another problem I can fix. Your statement should be as simple as A plus or minus B plus or minus C equals D. And it took me years, but I finally found a firm that would bring it all together and show clients so they could actually see. And then we show it to them every single year over a 10-year period so they can see. Because when a gentleman came to me, embarrassed and in tears, to say to me, Ms. Woods, he was 72, and he said, I don't know if I've made money or lost money. And it breaks your heart. And I said, I'm going to solve that problem. And so it was really 3 basic things that I started in the early 90s that has created ChappelWood Financial Services, and, be an advisor to millionaires, and we call them our little aspiring millionaires. We feel like little birds, we're helping our little babies out of the nest, but we want to make sure that everybody really rocks their retirement, because we're talking about 30 years of unemployment. You know, voluntary unemployment.
Yeah.
30 people. I just keep, listen, 30 years. That's
something
a long
we've
time.
discussed before is, you know, with the longevity, I mean, blessing that we have this amazing
That's
health
true.
care and hopefully a long, healthy life. But with the curse with that comes that you've got to be able to properly plan for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was teaching a webinar. We do weekly webinars, and education is very important, and we'll certainly talk more about our education program. But I was teaching this webinar about future technologies that will change the world and the way we invest. And one of those was about nanomedicine, nanorobots, these little robots that could actually be injected into your body and seek out things like cancer tumors and eradicate them before they grow. Clean out plaque and things inside of your blood vessels so you can not have a heart attack. And it's fascinating hearing about all this. But in this report, it said we might be able to take the average human lifespan, which is now around 85, maybe 90 years, and it might be 115 years. And at first, everyone was, wow, that sounds great. Yeah. And then other people were like, I don't even want to live 90 years, much less 115, because it's going to take a lot more money to cover 115 years if that were to happen. So that's why another big part of what we do is income planning. What is your probability of running out of money based upon the lifestyle you want to live? An inflation adjustment, taxes are another key thing. Medical expenses. You've got to plan for all of these things, and really the only way we know to do it is income planning.
When you remember there used to be that commercial where there's a little thought bubble, you know, above the heads, and it's like, this is how much money you need, you know, in retirement. And how do we know how much?
Yeah, you can't.
That's a great point.
You can't unless you know. You know, to me, it's a lot like you go to the doctor. If you walked into your doctor for the very first time, and they took one look up and down and said, well, you look okay, Sarah. You feeling okay? And you say, well, yeah, I guess I'm all right. And the first thing they do is write a prescription for you. They haven't asked you, why are you here? They haven't asked you, what do you need? They've made a prescription before the diagnosis. In retirement, the diagnosis is, we don't want you to run out of money. That's the greatest risk you run. So before we prescribe any kind of asset to you, let's diagnose the problem. We need income. How much money do you need to save? Tell me how much income you need to live the lifestyle you want to live.
And it's surprising, Sarah, too, that people don't even know how much income they need because they're basing it on their lifestyle now. Not, you know, my house is paid off, because in the Diva's world, they hear me say for, you know, many years on the radio, no client of mine's going into retirement with a house payment. No, and you would be surprised how long it takes to really get people educated to understand how important that is. Because now you need $10,000, no problem. But it goes back to having a system that when people, and the system is always the same. When you call our office first, you get a hold of Shelley. She gets the information. She then passes it on to Damon and I. We do a clarifying call with the client to be sure, first of all, we're on the same page. And what she has put down is really what they say, because sometimes it's not always the same. Then what we do is we have that meeting with them so that we can discover, after we have the call, we're going, okay, now we really believe that we can help you. Then they come in and we have that meeting to get to know each other, because honestly, I got to kind of like you. Because I'm going to be with you for 30 years. So I really need to know I like you.
I can't imagine anything more personal than health and wealth, those two things that you're so intertwined with people. We do need to get to a short commercial break, but I'd love for people to know, if they call 888-838-3482, what you're offering is complimentary, your Gold Bucket Optimizer. This is so special. Other advisors charge $1,000 or more for the same service. So,
yes, well, if someone comes into our office, just walks in, it's $1,500. If you just walk in. Now, if you say, I've listened to your radio show, I saw you on TV, you know, a client referred me, you've been to one of our speaking events of Damon and I, you went to the Rock Your Retirement class, then it is complimentary for you if you call 888-838-DIVA, and you'll be speaking to the lovely Shelley Myatt.
Oh, I love this. All right, when we come back, we're going to get to some of these viewer questions and learn a little bit more about it's the money, honey.
It's all about the money.
It's all about it.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. This is a $999 value that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go? And who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
Hello and welcome back to It's All About the Money, honey. I'm Sarah Peterson here with Victoria Woods and Damon King, and we are talking all things retirement. I wanted to go back to your gold bucket optimizer. There's people out there who are looking, okay, I want to find this gold bucket, right? So who is the right client that's going to come to you? Who's the right person sitting out there that's going to say, hey, Damon, I need you?
Yeah, well, as Victoria said earlier, we primarily work with millionaires and aspiring millionaires. So, you know, we get calls all the time from our radio show. We get calls from people who have read Victoria's book. We're all over social media. We're everywhere. If you can't find us, you're not looking. But we don't necessarily work with everybody. We can't serve everybody. Our ideal client is someone who's saved at least $500,000 in investable assets for retirement. This could be in the form of cash. It could be in your 401k that you've saved at work. It could be your IRAs that you have that you're investing in. It could even be a pension plan. You know, many clients we work with have a pension that allows them to roll over a lump sum that we can then manage as part of an overall income plan. But we work best when you've got at least $500,000 in investable assets saved for retirement.
And what should people prepare before they come to see you? So they're sitting out there and they're thinking, you know, I have a financial advisor, but he's never talked to me about a lot of these things. So what's next? What do they need to do before they come see you?
Well, sir, you know, that's a really good point you bring up, because there are people that have worked with their advisor for years, but they were in an accumulation stage. There are 3 stages. And first, it's accumulation. Then it's, hey, I want to protect what I have. And then you want to get an income plan, though, about the distribution of those assets. So the ideal client only needs to do one thing, and it's pick up the phone and call 888. What is our number? Yes, 888-348-DIVA. And call that number, and Shelley will tell you. It's really very simple. You just get some documents together, and she gets some basic information from you about you and your family. Now, what we have, which is really kind of fun, when we have people come in for the first time, they'll say, well, I've been to 3 or 4 advisors. And I go, that's great. You are shopping for the perfect advisor. This is a partnership that's going to be 30 years or more. So I'm very proud of you, first of all, for doing that. But these are simple things, and we start asking very personal questions like, you know, what do you want to do with this money? What does this money represent to you? Was it inherited? Did you start a business? Did you sacrifice? That tells you a lot about the person and their family and what they want to do, because honestly, there are people clients that they want to travel the world. That's what they want to do. And I go, okay. And they don't have a clue what it costs. Well, I've traveled the world. And I go, okay, well, Sydney, Australia, we need to budget minimum $30,000 to $40,000. And they're just shocked. And I'll say, well, we can start with something smaller. But they want to travel the world. Then there's others who have traveled the world, maybe through business, and said, look, I'm done. I just want to play with my grandkids. No problem. That's a different lifestyle plan that we have to create for them. Then, of course, we have the people that go, Victoria, I'm just tired. I just want to sit back and watch the grass grow. And I was like, again, that plan is for you. So we want to know everything we can about you to know how best to recommend, because we're not salespeople. We are advisors, and advisors then go and find the people. our job is to figure out with you to determine what's your goal, what do you want to accomplish, and what does this money represent to you, and how long can we make it last based on your lifestyle. That's the most important. And I love it. But honestly, I wouldn't be doing it all these years for, let's say we're going on 30 days. Damon says, Vic, I know that makes you sound old and you feel old, but you started when you were 12.
Yeah,
so
of course.
It's not that bad. But it is. I think back, my goodness, we've done this for 30 years going into this year.
And you've probably seen, everything in front of you. Everybody's situation is different.
Well, and when Damon was talking about the gold buckets, one of my favorite stories is because we divvy it up and we have all these accounts and here's these millions of dollars and it's all on one sheet and they're looking at it going, this is great, Victoria, our accounts are up, I'm really happy. And I go, yeah, but you gave me a mandate right here. You wanted no more than 50% of your assets in the market. Well, now you're at 72. Well, she says, this lady leans back and goes, well, that's not good. Just like Damon says, it's not. That's a mandate. And so what we do then is we say, okay, these are your choices. We can move some of this money from the stock market because the market's up, and we simply reposition it over here into your protected assets. Mm-hmm. Now, you don't have to do that. Well, yeah, we want to do that. Let's just move $1 million, $2 million over here in this bucket. So it's one of my favorite because it really makes an impact on people. That gold bucket optimizer that we designed so many years ago.
And the closer you get to retirement, maybe the more risk averse you are, and just wanting to have some peace of mind, especially if you have, children, grandchildren you want to provide for. You'd like to be able to leave a legacy, not a tax burden, for them, and being able to properly prepare for that. I'm imagining I love the fact that you get started young with everybody, because I have these questions a lot with my 4 children, and we all have different needs in different phases of life, right? So in 10 years, I'm going to be a little less willing to, have risk. In 20, certainly in 30 years, for sure.
Exactly. So that's so important to us, though, at ChappelWood Financial, to make sure our clients live stress-free and that they know. And I wish I had some wood here somewhere, because in all the years, no one's ever run out of money. I just tell them all the time, not on my watch. This is not going to happen in my world. It's just not going to happen. So if you want a gold bucket optimizer, I highly recommend you call 888-838-DIVA and get a hold of the beautiful Shelley Myatt. She'll be happy to take the information for you and see how we can help you.
Mm-hmm.
You've just spoken to so many people who are all out there listening, and thinking, it's the time.
Yes.
I'm going to do this. Get your second opinion, whether it's your third opinion. You do that with your doctor. You need to do it with your financial advisor, because you've worked so hard for so many years. And don't just throw it away at the end. So, next time we're going to get to your book. I didn't get to talk about your book. Next show we'll get about. It's so great to be with you. And until next time, we're going to talk about so many more exciting things. And it's all about the money, huh?
It's all about the money.
I love it. I can't say it enough.